Katherine Kiernan. She's with Aspire Realty. If you want to find out more about her, you can go to findfargomorehead.com. Again, findfargomorehead.com. And so one of the things we want to do here is the real estate report so that you can really understand what's happening here locally with real estate pretty from much, more of a micro level, but we'll get into some macro stuff as well. And hopefully one day, and maybe Ross, you'll help join us. We'll have this conversation around the metaverse and what's going on there. But today we're going to talk about actual homes and land. And so I've been sort of prefacing this conversation with you. By the way, thanks for being in studio. It's great to have
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you for having us.
Where the feds are going to be raising rates. I think many people on Wall Street think it's going to be 4 times. They're saying 3 times. Either way, they're going up. So I guess my question to you is if someone's in the market right now to buy and or sell, why do these interest rates matter to them?
The biggest thing that we're seeing right now is when interest rates are exceptionally low, it gives the buyers more buying power, if that makes sense. So they're able to buy a little bit higher. As soon as those interest rates, those start to climb on us, then all of a sudden their affordability on the monthly side goes down tremendously. So then what happens is they start looking at a lower tier property. So right now we're seeing this perfect scenario where property values are really high, the interest rates are low, and it's marrying buyers and sellers together very beautifully. But now with those interest rates going up, the ability for buyers to now purchase those properties is going to start sliding backwards on us again.
And one of the things that I'm really excited about this real estate report is that off camera, we were having a little conversation and you said something, Chris. One of the things that's really fascinating to watch is X because there seems to be a correlation. When X happens, then Y happens. What was that?
Well, absolutely. So we're starting to see a lot of low appraisals coming in right now. And so once you start seeing it, it kind of goes hand in hand when prices are going up and appraisals are coming in great. It's a strong market. We're sitting on a positive trend. But pretty soon we get to a point where we've had hit a certain asking price for a property. Buyers are still willing to pay it, but now appraisers are coming in and saying, whoa, nope, they're not worth those prices anymore. And that's when we can start to see a little bit of a tip in the market of what's going to happen. And so we watch that very closely in our industry, just because if we're going to start coming in with low values on appraisals, all of a sudden that's going to start shifting what people are able to sell their homes for as well.
Very interesting. So again, if you're just joining us, Katherine Kiernan's in studio with Aspire Realty. So what do you attribute the lower appraisals to?
It's a multitude of different things. So we case in point, are battling one right now, as a matter of fact, where the appraiser just said, hey, here's the deal. New construction prices have gotten out of control from his standpoint. And so when you're comparing other properties that are of similar style to what is being built right now, the new construction prices have gone sky high on some of these properties. And he's saying, hey, you know what? We don't care. We think the prices on the new construction have gotten out of control as well. And the property itself is not worth what it's now costing to build it. So when that's happening, what he's coming back and saying, this particular appraisal on this file is just saying, hey, we cannot justify putting pricing like this on this house, even though the consumer is willing to pay it because it's still less than the new construction price. The house itself does not justify that purchase price.
So many people would already say, hey, there's a housing crunch in this community. And now what I'm hearing you suggest is that if a because builder, I'm presuming still having challenges getting materials. So
Absolutely.
their prices are going up, but now they're not getting the appraisals. Are you going to see buildings slow down dramatically? There's going to be possibly more of a crunch?
We're seeing so many builders right now pulling their hair out over the fact that we can't get materials. Builders are doing their darndest to keep up with the demand that we have with clients. And it's one of those things where we aren't getting windows in, and lumber prices have started to spike back up again. We saw a little bit of a leveling there, and then all of a sudden it turned a corner and now they're sky high again. So all of that is really impacting their ability to get to the finish line, on the originally agreed upon closing date. So, yeah, when we're seeing that, and then on top of it, we're seeing really low inventory levels. It's just kind of a perfect storm right now.
Perfect storm meaning what specifically?
It's just trying to figure out where buyers are going to go. So, if you're looking to sell, it's a phenomenal time to sell because you're not competing against anything. This, double-edged sword side of it, though, will tell you is it might be a little bit hard for you to find something that you want to move into as well.
See, that's the thing right now. Like, even if you sell and you think, "Oh, wow, I made a really good profit on this deal," when you go move into another house, it's still pretty large expense anyways. It's such a fascinating tell us something that maybe we should know in this market, but it's not being talked about.
I think the thing that it's important to be mindful of is a lot of sellers are seeing, well, my neighbor sold at this dollar amount. Now I'm going to keep that flow going. And it can't sustain itself like that long term. We've been doing this. The market has been incredibly strong. I think we're going to see another strong market despite these other factors that are going on. I do think that 2022 is still going to be very strong. But the thing is, there has to be some negotiability and that realism piece of putting the right price on what you're actually selling and having that, I guess, that mindset around it is really important. That's what we're not pointing out a lot is, you can put your house on the market for whatever dollar amount you want, and it is going to be subject to that appraisal. So even though you might have 5 buyers who all line up and say, okay, I'll give it to you because there's nothing else to choose from, you're still subject to that appraisal at the end of the day. So it can cause a lot bigger
Wow.
hurdles later on.
I think you're gonna have to add value with NFTs and like turn it. If you're just joining us, it's the Real Estate Report with Katherine Kiernan. She's with Aspire Realty. You can find out more at findfargomorehead.com. Again, findfargomorehead.com. So based on our conversation, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing you say is, hey, Chris, rates are going up. That's going to lower your buying power. There's some inventory. So if you're a buyer, you may have kind of a short window right now to actually go get something at a fairly decent price. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely. And if you are seeing something out there that you are interested in, you do not have that luxury of waiting. The stuff that's hitting the market when it's priced well and it's a desirable product, you're going to be in a competition point. And so it's very important that you're in a position where you're pre-approved, you're ready to pull the trigger, and you need to move quickly. The days of sleeping on things and giving it a couple days to marinate, maybe a week, they're gone. We don't have that right now. So it's just about being prepared when you're going into the marketplace of what you're going to anticipate and educating yourself on all of the different facets that go into the purchase process.
Love that. 'Cause that's what we're going to be doing here on the Real Estate Report. Hopefully, in the future, I don't want to be presumptive, but Katherine hopefully is going to be joining us some more. We can educate you about going through this process, getting a better. And this is one thing I said yesterday. I think is so powerful. That's what we talked about the metaverse and real estate. But I said, look, what made Wayne Gretzky, because he was going where the puck was going, not where it was, right? And so the same thing that I'd like us to do here is help our audience understand where the market's going so they can make better buying and or selling decisions or investment decisions, whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
One last thing I want you to just touch upon is that I know the West Fargo School Board recently changed some of their boundaries for families in that particular geographical area. What would you coach them through if they are in a home?
It's a really difficult time for a lot of families on the West Fargo side. We've seen monumental growth. And unfortunately, when you see that kind of monumental growth, there was no way to anticipate that the growth was going to happen in the way that it did. And the schools are sitting at capacity. Many of them are well over capacity. So, with that, the new boundary lines have been put into effect. There's a lot of families where there's one, I think it was in the Forum, where she said, I've been affected 7 times by these boundary changes over the last several years between all of her children.
Wait, what?
Yes, and so it's an ongoing thing. I mean, but the schools have to. There's not a route around that where if we're at capacity, we're looking at overcrowding. Now we've got new schools coming onto the map as well. We see a lot of the people on the Horace side, really that the Cheyenne River is serving as a big boundary line. It's appearing at this point for who's going to end up being pushed down into the new Horace schools. The great news is Horace has phenomenal schools as well. They've got phenomenal new schools coming out. And so it's going to be a great community to be a part of as well. But for the families who are being challenged by this again and again and again, we hear you. We hear it a lot with our different clients that we have. So it's really about, there's no guarantees. We have people who are moving with us all the time where they say, I want to move into this neighborhood because I want my kids to go to this school. There are no guarantees to that being your long-term picture. So really educating yourself around that is huge. It's going to be important, but it's good to know too that all of the schools are very committed to trying to work with the different families who are caught in that state of flux. So if you have questions about where your house is or how your home is going to be impacted, reach out to a professional. We're always happy to help too. There's a lot of great agents in the area who are very familiarized with this as well. So there's things we can do.
How do people get a hold of you?
You can reach us at any time, 701-4-ASPIRE, or at www.findfargomoreheadhome.com.
Was I saying it wrong?
Yeah, but that's okay.
Findfargomoreheadhome.com. My bad.
Yes.
Findfargomoreheadhome.com. I apologize for that.
No
So
problem.
findfargomoreheadhome.com. Last question for you. How hot is the horse market right now?
Horse is booming. It's been awesome. There's a lot of great development going on out there too, and rumor mill has it we're getting a grocery store. So that's
Wow.
it's a big talking
Can we
point
play the
for
Jeffersons? We're moving on up. That's fantastic. A grocery store.
Yeah, but there's awesome new developments coming out there. There's phenomenal price points. I mean, they've done a phenomenal job out there. I personally live out there. Ross on my team lives out there, and it's a great community to be part of, and it's growing. And personally, I'm very excited having a little one on the way for the school systems that they have out there. It's going to be a phenomenal addition.
Is there a gym out there?
Oh, the
That's what
closest
y'all
one I
need.
know, just shameless plug, Edge Fitness is on 52nd Avenue. But outside of that, I don't know that we do have a gym.
Why is
Do we
that a
have a
shame?
gym?
Do you own Edge Fitness?
No, one of my
Oh,
girlfriend's
okay.
husbands does, though. It's a great
I
gym.
was like, why is that a shameless plug? But well done. I appreciate it.
But no, I think that's the closest one. So if you're in the gym business, we could help you find some land and
See,
open a new gym. Yeah,
I
be
was thinking
great.
about moving out there, and I hate to say this, but it was one of the things I was like, so where do I like? I'm into working out. Try it doesn't show, but I try, and it's like, where do I go work out? And they're like, oh, you got to go this and there. I was like, not ready for that. Find FargoMoreheadHome.com.
Yes.
Find FargoMoreheadHome.com. It's the real estate report with Katherine. Am I saying your last name right? Kiernan?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So I got that right. Aspire Realty. Check her out online. And at some point in the future, we are going to talk about the metaverse real estate. But for now, we'll keep it just as real land. So thank you so much. Congratulations on the baby. And we hope to see you soon. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
Appreciate it.